This is Jimmy Burns from Melbourne, Ohio, and you're listening to BBQ Central.
Start the game! Let's go!
Do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Good evening, and welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. This is a show that talks about all things that are important to the world, the galaxy of barbecue and grilling. Originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rippey. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday live fire fun and frivolity show. If you want to jump in on the show this evening, here's how you do that.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you didn't get the newsletter. Coming up in about 12 to 13 minutes from now, it is the third Tuesday of the month. And you know what that means? We're going to be getting a visit from a Barbecue Hall of Famer, a Barbecue Central Show guest Hall of Famer, a cooking class instructor, the most prolific live fire cookbook author the world has ever seen, and regular third Tuesday standing guest Stephen Reichlin will rejoin us. Last month, we were talking to Stephen about getting ready to go to Maryland to shoot Season 2 of Project Fire. We talked about the game plan. We talked about the special items that they were going to have in place. And now we will go recap. I actually saw some social media of Stephen making the train trip, or maybe he planed it for a certain amount of time or drove it a certain amount of time and then ultimately ended up taking a train into Maryland. So we'll see how it all played out on the TV side of things with Stephen Reichlin. Plus, we will talk about how to grill the perfect chicken breast, because sometimes that's hard for us to do. And we will also talk about the 6 or 7 dishes, if we even get to that many, items that you need to do on your barbecue or grill in September. We are now almost all the way through September, so if you haven't been keeping track, if you're not visiting his website, you're missing out, but we'll get you up to speed. Then we will talk to the first ever full-time barbecue editor in the country. He writes for Texas Monthly. You can find him at tmbbq.com. We'll be rejoined by Daniel Vaughn. Plenty of items to talk about with, how do I want to say that? Plenty of items to talk about Daniel with. That still sounds weird. Doesn't matter. A lot of topics to discuss with Daniel. Not the least of which is something that is going down in the Austin, Texas area. That even in an age where meat does not necessarily have to mean coming from cows, they come from plants, plant-based meat products. This one might take it a little bit further down that road. So I don't know how surprised we will all be, especially if you've been keeping up with either Texas Monthly or just watching all the different barbecue publications. This is something that has the potential of blowing your very mind, so stay tuned for Daniel Vaughn 35 Past. Then we'll move to the second hour. The other third Tuesday of the month standing guest, of course, Robin Lindars from GrillGirl.com. As I had said in the newsletter release, I think there's a lot of showing perfection on social media. We want to take our perfect shots. Even if it's not perfect, there's plenty of ways to doctor up items to make them look even better than they turned out. But why not talk about the losses? Why not talk about the failures? Why not talk about the things that you have had trouble with so other people can learn and not go through the same learning processes that you have to go through? You'll tighten the learning curve, as it were. And tonight, we're going to talk about some pellet cooker maintenance. We will also be talking about how to do pizza on the pellet cooker with the pizza oven attachment. Both Robin and I have had issues. Mine's been more of a learning curve. Robin will be going from one Green Mountain grill to a newer model Green Mountain grill and a newer pizza oven insert. Some of those dynamics have changed, and we'll talk about that. And Robin has also had her own pizza challenges. So we're going to lay it all out on the line for you, tell you where our problems have been, and then hopefully if you have a similar setup, maybe you haven't had the same items of issue yet, or maybe you just haven't gotten into the cooking part of it yet, we're going to offer some help, some tips and tricks to prevent some heartache and sorrow and ruined food, whatever. So Robin Lindar's 14 past the second hour. And then we'll close it out with first-timer to the show, founder of Bloodsoe's Bar and Q in Compton, California. Kevin Bloodsoe joins me. He'll be a judge coming up this Friday along with Melissa Cookston on the Netflix show. American Barbecue Showdown, I think it's called. So we'll talk to Kevin about getting on that show. He's got a very deep barbecue backstory that, given the time frame of that segment, I don't think that we're going to be able to get into all of that. We might touch on it a little bit. I doubt it. But we'll talk a lot about the TV show. We'll talk about a lot of barbecue and TV in general, some things that he has coming up otherwise outside of the TV aspect this coming Friday. So looking forward to meeting and chatting it up with Kevin Bloodsoe from Bloodsoe's Bar and Q. There you go. That's how the show lines out. Don't forget, you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Not Facebook. Well, Facebook too, I guess. / BBQ Central Show on Facebook. You can also find a live video feed there. There's also one on YouTube. There's also one on twitch.tv / BBQ Central Show. So however you want to figure out how to watch me, go ahead and figure that out. I'm happy to have you. Let's start here this week. If you missed the show last Tuesday and haven't gotten to it yet on podcast, you've missed one of the all-time hoodwinks in show history. And it wasn't even planned. Like most things, when something happens organically, it yields the best results. And there was no greater proof than what happened at the top of the show last Tuesday. After I finished with the normal show intro and setup, I had a quick throwaway line about wishing Robin Lindars a happy birthday, which it was last Tuesday. And right at the end of the birthday wish, I said that she was turning 68 years old. Then I even played a laugh drop to make sure everyone knew it was a joke. Quickly moved on from there, never even gave it a second thought. In case you missed it, here's what that portion sounded like. First and foremost, as we get to some house cleaning, we want to wish a special happy birthday to third Tuesday of the month regular guest, founder of GrillGirl.com, Robin Lindars, who turned 68 today. Congratulations, Robin. Hope you have a great birthday. All right, so you hear the laugh track. You hear me say 68. Maybe I even chuckle a little bit. Then we got into the meathead segment, and he stopped me before we got into any of the topics to reveal to me and the audience that he was completely astounded and shocked and or otherwise in disbelief that Robin had just turned 68. 68! Here's how that sounded.
You said something in the warm-up.
Yep.
Robin is 68?
Yes, Robin is 68. I'm laughing at him.
All right, now I got to tread lightly here. I got to tread real lightly here in the Me Too era.
Yes.
But
yeah, careful.
Robin just does not look 68.
Well, believe it or not, she is
would put
as 68 as they
closer
come.
to 45.
No, Robin is 68 years old. Believe it. Take it to the bank. Unbelievable. So let me ask you something. Is there anyone out there last Tuesday that heard this live or caught it during the weekend podcast that thought I was for real for 1 second? Did any of you think that Robin turned 68 years old? Well, I know one of you did, and that person's name is Meathead, and I couldn't believe it. He never even questioned it. And as you heard in the clip, when I realized he was totally invested in that sham of a story, I directed him to talking about Michigan fruit or cold weather climate fruit so we could let that moment live forever in infamy, let's say. Yes. We will set the record straight with Robin next hour, believe it. But what a guess. If I can ever top that hoodwink, I'll be amazed. But you know we're going to try. Steven Reichland is in the green room, and we'll come back to chat with him. I'll talk to you quickly about Pits and Spits. Since 1983, Pits and Spits has been handcrafting smokers and grills right there in Houston, Texas, establishing itself as one of the premier brands in high-quality offset smokers and pellet cookers. They've set themselves apart by using heavy 7 and 10-gauge steel in every cooker, fully welded construction that you can feel when you use the unit, and 304 stainless roll-top lids and front shelves on every single smoker. So why does it matter? Well, by using higher quality materials, Pits and Spits smokers reach and maintain temperatures, allowing you to worry about the meat more than the heat. Providing a fully welded smoker, you don't have to worry about grease and smoke leaking out of the barrel, or about that grill rattling apart as you move it through the yard. You know you're going to do that. Also, with 304 stainless, you have an heirloom quality product that'll be around for generations. When some companies are focusing on being a low-cost provider, Pits and Spits focuses on craftsmanship and quality materials. Are there cheaper ways to make this product? Sure. But they don't like tack welds, cheap stainless, electronics that you can't trust. Having in-house manufacturing gives them complete control of the design and standards. That's not something you'll find in products brought in from overseas. Their steel suppliers supply materials to be used in some of the harshest environments around, so they will perform wherever you are, and their controllers are made right here in the USA. They have unimpeded transparency into the program. Pits and Spits has a dealer network across the country. If there isn't one close to you, give them a call to shop, 844-650-6250, whether you're a backyard grill master looking to cook steaks for the family, or a competition barbecuer looking to do 50 racks of ribs. Pits and Spits is a product for you. You can check out all the products at pitsandspits.com, all spelled out, or you can see their pits in the wild across the social media handle at Pits and Spits. All right. Once again, Robin, not 68. We will address that next hour, right around this time. And we will load in Steven Reichland right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, this portion of the show being brought to you by Butcher Barbecue, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, seasonings, barbecue sauces, grilling oils, all of Butcher Barbecue products, tested on the competition circuit as well as backyards worldwide. Be the pitmaster of your neighborhood and visit butcherbbq.com to stock up now. Always trust your butcher. Barbecue mud available for sale. Central Lights, third Tuesday of the month. You know what that means. A time to visit with an icon in the industry, a host of TV shows, the creator of the very popular Barbecue University, author of the most incredible barbecue and grilling cookbooks out there ever, and a third Tuesday of the month regular guest. So we race to the hotline and welcome back Steven Reichland. Hey, Steven.
How you doing?
I am fabulous, Stephen, and you look like you are perhaps getting ready for a sauna.
I'm in a cabin at a beautiful retreat called Pearlstone in Reisterstown, Maryland, where I've been taping the next season of Project Fire. And we are a locked. It's a lock set. We all had a million COVID tests coming into this. Nobody comes in. Nobody goes out. We've been together for 12 days. Tomorrow's our 13th day. We're going to wrap the show on Thursday. So it's been a pretty amazing experience.
So when we talked last month, we were
Right, yep.
doing a little bit of a setup in regards to things that you had to put in place that you had never had to take into account when you were shooting a TV show. So as you are rounding out through the shooting period, as you said, you'll be wrapping Thursday. How has it gone so far? How have things compared to previous shoots? And then how have the things that have differed really differed?
Well, first of all, it's growing great. I think it's the best shoot we've ever done. We have a terrific team. We've, many of us have been working together for 12, 13 years. We get together once a year, so it's like a big family reunion. Only this time it's a socially distanced family reunion, and our meals are all at 8-foot long tables. Every person, you sit at the ends of the tables. I came up from Miami to Baltimore by train because our COVID advisor, and that's a new, we have cameramen, we have sound guys, we have field chefs. Now we have a COVID officer on the set to make sure everybody's safe. So he thought that my taking a train 24 hours would be safer than flying. And it was interesting and a very zen experience. Everybody, and you'll see behind the scenes, because in my shows it's very important that we do the behind the scenes shows, and you'll see everybody's in a mask. Only person on the set that doesn't have to wear a mask is me, and that's when I'm on the set, talking. What else has been strange about the year?
Stevie, can I interrupt just for 1 second?
Yeah.
I think when I was 8 or 9, I once took an Amtrak train from Albany, New York to somewhere around Hornell, New York, and that was the only time I had ever been on a train. I would assume, given the extensive amount of travel, you have much more rail experience than perhaps the normal folk would. So, what is a train ride for you going from Miami to Maryland like? Obviously, plane would be much quicker, but do you find any difference of joy in taking the scenic route, as it were, or is it just a big kind of a, hey, let's do it for safety, and oh, by the way, this is tedious and terrible and not very fun?
It was not tedious. It was not terrible. Typical of me, whenever I go away, I have 8 million things to finish before I go. So the new book, I was proofreading the galleys for the new book. So that probably took me a good 10 hours into the trip. I had a little sleeper compartment, so I was totally sealed off. My wife had packed me some great food to eat. And then the sleeper car, your bed comes down from the ceiling for that. And that was sort of like being in the top tier of a bunk bed. So it was kind of cool. It was sort of like camping on the train. I enjoyed it. And then pulling into Baltimore, I grew up in Baltimore. So this show really has a lot of emotional nostalgia for me. And I have pulled into that train station, I cannot tell you how many times in my life. So, so it was cool. Like, I'm the kind of guy, I love new experiences, good, bad, whatever they are. It just, and it was a good experience.
You had mentioned on the set that you are having this family reunion. Is it a scaled back family reunion? Do you have as many people as you normally would, or did that have to get cut back somewhat?
No, we have the full crew. It's a crew of 20. We've got 3 cameramen, we've got a sound guy, we've got the stylist and the stylist assistant, we've got the chef and the chef's assistant, we've got gaffers, lighting guys, COVID officer, directors, producers. But it's a very congenial set. There's never a raised word, it's always a please and thank you. And we've done some really cool stuff this year. And one thing that I am loving is it's a new feature on the show called the Mystery Box. And so I come up to the set, and there's a giant wooden box on the set. I don't know what's in it. I lift it up, and then I have to create a recipe on the spot, obviously using the grills in keeping with the theme of the show. And I have found that that's been my favorite part of the show this year. I really love it.
Stephen Reichlin joining us here on the show, talking about the second season of Project Fire as they're getting
Actually,
ready.
it's the third season, believe it or
Third
not.
season, that's right. And that's getting ready to wrap shooting here Thursday. So this is going to be like a next spring release, next grilling season release?
Yeah, April 1st release.
All right. And we're not kidding about that.
And, believe it or not, it takes 2 weeks to shoot 13 episodes. And then it will take roughly 2 weeks of editing to produce each episode. So, I mean, it's a very long, involved process. You watch it on TV, you don't realize how much work goes into it.
I was going to say, do you have any idea how many hours of straight raw footage that you will have shot to what will end up being a nicely packaged, 13 shows?
Well, I'll give you an example today. We arrived on the set at 7. We were shooting by, let's say, 8:15. We struck at about 7:15 tonight with an hour off for lunch, and the rest of that was shooting time. It wasn't all shooting time. I mean, there's setup time, there's, they're doing stand-up times, but there's a lot of footage.
What's the favorite thing that has happened so far this week or over the last 2 weeks that you hadn't accounted for or hadn't planned on happening?
Well, the mystery boxes, that's and I don't want to spoil the surprise for people, so I'm not going to tell you what they are, but I've done 5 of them so far, and each one, was a real surprise, and I love that energy. I mean, it's the funny way, it's the way I cook at home. I don't cook from recipes at home. I see either what I bought in, what we went when we went shopping, or what's in the fridge. But this is like that on steroids. You open the box and there it is, and then they have a little pantry area where I can go take other ingredients to round out the dish, and it's very spontaneous and really fun.
So that seems like a lot of competition barbecue or live fire shows have taken a similar concept where it's, let's call it a chopped concept, for instance, where you open something, you have these secret ingredients, and then there's the pantry, as you reference as well, that the contestants can use. Are you regularly approached by different production houses saying, hey, we want to put together, or we're in the process of putting together some type of a live fire grilling competition? Would you like to take part?
I am, and I've also been approached by people that want to create brand new shows, and I always keep an open ear because I like to keep an open ear to everything. But I'm very happy at PBS, and I think during the lockdown, our kind of programming without commercials, without annoying advertisements and product placement and all, I think people really took comfort in that.
Anything else before we put a bow on the shooting that you would like to share or tease in order to keep our zest for the third season?
No, just watch for it on your local PBS station, and I hope everybody enjoys it.
All right, now, one of the things that I had seen on barbecuebible.com recently was a post on how to grill the perfect chicken breast. And, probably not much to your surprise, I'm not a big chicken breast griller. I do find that I just prefer chicken thighs more from a flavor standpoint. There's obviously a much bigger window of error should that factor in. But let's go ahead and talk about grilling a perfect chicken breast, because I think there might be a tendency to think that that's just something really easy to do, or perhaps worse, that it is going to be dry or a little flavorless no matter how well you cook it.
Does not have to be dry, does not have to be flavorless. I, like you, prefer the dark meat, but many people prefer the breast. I guess my favorite way for doing it is al matone, what the Italians call al matone, under a brick. And that is the chicken breast is marinated in olive oil, lemon juice, rosemary, sage, hot pepper flakes, salt and pepper. And then when you grill it, you place either a foil wrapped brick over it, or lately I've been using salt slabs. But the idea is you press it into the grill grate. Gives you killer grill marks for one. It compacts the meat, and it also keeps the meat from drying out. It's a very dramatic way to cook a chicken breast, and if you do it right, the breast comes out every bit as succulent as the leg would.
Are there any other tips as far as, in general, grilling a chicken breast that isn't going to dry out?
Well, a marinade is a big factor. Sometimes I cut a pocket in the side of the breast and stuff it. I might stuff it with cheese or ham and cheese, or sometimes an herb butter. So that's a way of getting moisture from the inside out. Basting is important, not overcooking it is important. Grilling on a plancha is another way to handle chicken breast. Plancha being that cast iron griddle that you put on your grill, and a lot of people are, I find I'm doing that style of cooking much more. That gives you a great surface sear, and you can add wood smoke, via the wood chunks on the coals.
Do you want to make sure that the chicken breast, if let's say you're doing half a dozen or maybe up to a dozen, depending on what kind of a dinner that you're having, do you want to make sure that all these are similar in size, weight, and thickness to promote a even cook?
That is a big help. Yes, obviously. For me, I like to cook with organic chicken because I think it's raised more humanely and it eats a better diet, so it has a better flavor, and I think it's just a more humanity to the process. Basting is another. You could write a whole book. You could write a whole giant book on cooking chicken breasts.
Do I hear a Stephen Reichlin chicken book in the
I
pipe?
don't know. I don't think so, but it would be an interesting project.
No doubt. Stephen Reichlin joining us here on the show. BBQBible.com is his website. I had seen 7 recipes that you might want to grill or smoke this month here in September. So we're just starting the 3rd week here. So some folks might have some making up to do, but wanted to ask you about a couple of these. One of them was a smoked Bloody Mary, and I know through various conversations that we have had, especially maybe in the winter months or trending into the cooler months, you've been a little bit more akin to smoking, let's say, an old-fashioned or a Manhattan or something along these lines. But a Bloody Mary, I'm not, I don't drink anymore, but I was never a Bloody Mary fan. I had tried it on any number of occasions. So let's talk about Bloody Marys first and what you think makes a good one, and then what the smoke adds and how you would add smoke to that.
Great question. And by the way, I've rechristened the drink a Smoky Mary. You're talking basically a tomato juice base. The traditional spirit was vodka. Vodka has absolutely no flavor, so I have no use for it. Lately, I've been making my Bloody Marys with mezcal, which is a very smoky agave spirit from Mexico. Freshly grated horseradish is important. There should be some heat. Lemon juice, lime juice is important. In terms of smoking it, a couple of ways you can proceed. If you're making it in a pitcher and you have a smoking gun, and I love the smoking gun. It's kind of a bong that fires hickory smoke instead of the other stuff. But you cover the mouth of the pitcher with saran wrap, place the hose of the smoking gun over it, fill the pitcher with smoke, let it infuse for 4 or 5 minutes, repeat 2 or 3 times, and you get it's absolutely terrific, delicious. Smoke. I've called smoke the umami of barbecue, but it really it makes everything you do on the grill, or many things you eat. It just makes it. It's like it takes the flavor into another dimension.
Would you say it's like salt as far as a flavor amplifier, or not necessarily comparable?
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah. No, that's a good analogy. And it's also a flavor modifier. By the way, I assume many of your listeners are into mezcal, but if you're not, it's an amazing, amazing spirit. I actually traveled down to Oaxaca a few years ago when I was writing Project Smoke. I wanted to see how it was made, and it's virtually medieval distilling. In fact, there's a theory that everybody said the Spanish brought the art of distilling to the New World. But one of the stills I saw consisted of earthenware bowls and bamboo tubes for the distilling, and it's very possible that the Aztecs had figured out how to distill long before the Spanish arrived.
So is there a familiar tequila flavor outside of the smokiness aspect that's added in there then?
Yeah, but tequila is like light beer next to mezcal. It's very. And by the way, when you buy a mezcal like Don Maguey is one, you don't want the one that has the worm in the bottle. That's pretty rot gut stuff. There's you can spend a lot of money on mezcals. This Del Maguey, they do single village mezcals, so each of theirs comes from an individual distillery. Each one has a different flavor.
Stephen Reichlin joining us here.
You know how they make it? They dig a giant fire pit, and they build an enormous fire in it, and then they toss they're called the piñas, the pineapples, the hearts of the cactus, into this fire pit after the wood has burned down, and then they bury it with earth and throw a tarp over it, and come back 5 days later. And so these cactus hearts have roasted until they're coal black, and at that point they are mashed, they're fermented, and then they're distilled. So you've got this amazing smoky flavor.
All right, well, that's where the smoky flavor comes from. So how much longer from that point does it take to put in a bottle and then get it out to retail? Does it have to age for a certain period of time, or is it pretty much ready to go after fermentation?
In general, it's pretty much ready to go after fermentation. There are some people who are experimenting with aging in whiskey barrels and sherry barrels and such. But in general, it's, the time-consuming part comes in roasting the piñas. And then once it's distilled, it's ready to roll.
All right, Stephen, I have two more questions for you before I let you to go, and I appreciate the time as always. Would you rather your voice sound like Elmo or Kermit the Frog?
Kermit the Frog.
Of course. This is a Howard Stern-related question, who I know you're a fan of. Who's the better drummer, Neil Peart or John Bonham?
Oh boy, I sort of stopped paying attention to drummers with Ginger Baker, so I'm gonna plead the fifth on that.
All right, no doubt about it. You can find Stephen Reichlin right here on this show, the third Tuesday of every month, and they are getting ready to wrap the third edition of Project Smoke, or the third season of Project Smoke.
Fire.
I'm sorry, Project Fire. This coming Project Thursday. Fire. That's right.
That's right.
So Project Fire will be out April 1st next year, and we'll be looking for that. Stephen, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much for coming on.
You always do a great job. Thanks, Greg. Bye-bye.
You got it. There he is, Stephen Reichlin, right there. Wow. I said Project Smoke. I apologize. These are things that happen, right? I mean, you get a little excited. You got a Hall of Famer. The first show out was Project Smoke. You get told, no, he's a stickler for correctness now. I mean, don't be bringing the B game. You got to be bringing the A game for Stephen, which I appreciate. My next guest, by the way, always bringing the A game too, so I better figure out my P's and Q's so I don't shove my foot in my mouth again. Before we get to Daniel Vaughn, I will talk to you quickly about the Barbecue Guru. Believing that outdoor cooking is easy and fun, because it can be easy and fun. How? Well, you can use the Barbecue Guru temperature control devices. If you have a kettle-style cooker, if you have a Weber Smoky Mountain or Bullet-style smoker, some of the bigger offsets can actually accommodate these as well. If you have any questions, you just go over to the website, bbqguru.com, or you can call them and ask all your questions at 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU. Now, if you're in the market for a ceramic cooker, they make one. The Monolith is the world's first temperature-controlled smoker with a built-in power draft fan. That means smarter control and greater freedom with automatic temperature control devices. Now, if you have a Guru controller already and you buy a Monolith, you don't need to buy an additional controller. You can just take the one that you have, hook it to the power draft fan built in, and away you go. If you want to upgrade to the newest technology, you have the DynaQ and the NanoQ, depending on what price you're looking to get into. So all you have to do is hit up the website, bbqguru.com, or call them with your questions, 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU. The Barbecue Guru continues to be a breakthrough in barbecue technology. We will be back with Daniel Vaughn from Texas Monthly right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show is being brought to you by cookingpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all of your pellet-driven cookers. So, you visit cookingpellets.com for more information. You can also purchase there and see what they have. You can also buy on Amazon.com if you would prefer. Whatever you like. Certainly up to you. My next guest is the barbecue editor for Texas Monthly Magazine. You also see him on this show from time to time as we talk about the world of barbecue and more. We race to the hotline. And welcome back, friend of the show, Daniel Vaughn. Hey, Daniel.
How's it going?
I am doing fabulous. Appreciate you making time for the show this evening and looking forward to our conversation here. Before we start, let me start with you where I ended with Steven. Best rock and roll drummer, is it Neil Peart or John Bonham?
I don't know if I have a strong opinion about that. Let's go with Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl?
The Def Leppard guy. I mean,
let's
one
go
arm.
with D. I mean, between the two, you don't have a favorite? I mean, these two probably widely considered to be the pinnacle of, rock and roll drumming.
Greg, I'm the barbecue snob. I'm not the drummer snob. I'm sorry.
All right. So what did you say the answer was? Oh, Dave Grohl. Well, I mean, he is multi-talented. I mean, he
loves barbecue.
Yeah.
Oh, he loves barbecue.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? You're right. He is the best barbecue guy. Drummer, guitar, singer, kind of. But definitely a very I mean, you've met him, right? You've hung with him?
I haven't met him. No. I'm not cool enough to be hanging with him. No.
Oh, I figured.
But I do hear he hangs out at Memphis in May and some other barbecue competitions.
He watches Malcolm Reed religiously. I've heard him mention him in like other podcasts and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very popular.
And I mean, from some of the photos, it looks like he can cook too.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a Lang, or maybe he's even added. I guess he's probably got multi-cooker syndrome at this point. So we both love Dave Grohl. We'll leave it at that.
I know what that feels like.
Yeah, of course. So last Thursday, you release a story about two Austin, Texas women who are hoping, or perhaps are even in the process of building or growing a brisket made in a laboratory. Now, 10 years ago...
Or as they say, cultivating.
Cultivating. Okay, I was trying to figure out what the right word. So cultivating a brisket. Now, 10 years ago, I think the world would have blown up or at least gotten thrown off its axis when we would talk about this. Now with the mention of lab-grown anything that involves meat. However, given the rise of, let's say, Beyond Meat or Impossible Burger or non-meat meat options, doesn't seem that far out of bounds. So before we talk about this more in depth, how does this concept grab you as a Texas guy?
Well, it is a little strange to think about the idea of, even when I was talking with the founders of this company, I was using the term plant-based meat and then correcting myself. Like, it's meat-based meat.
Real meat.
It uses bovine cells. It is grown completely from bovine cells. It's just not grown inside the body of a cow. So they're engineering this like scaffold system to build these cells, or to allow these cells to grow and replicate on this scaffolding system to create what they hope to. I mean, they hope to bring to the world the lab-based brisket. Now, my first question to them was, if you were designing meat from scratch, like the cut, I don't think I would choose as a brisket. We love it in barbecue, of course, but a lot of the reasons we love it in barbecue is because it is so difficult of a cut of meat to turn into something tender and delicious. So I was like, I would maybe want like a whole steer's worth of ribeyes.
Well, did they say why brisket? I mean, was it just to be a little bit more courageous, as it were? You know, when you and I get together, we're courageous, but or is it because it's
That's
a
right.
Texas thing, and we want to
Yeah,
do
they're
brisket?
Texans. This is it's an Austin, a company founded in Austin. It's a doctor from the University of Texas, and part of their argument was the fact that with this BBQ company, that if they create a brisket, then they could pretty much engineer any other cut. Like if they could get the difficulty of the structure of a brisket with all the collagen and the fat and the layers and all that if they could build that, then they could build a fillet pretty easily.
Any idea how long it takes to? Well, I mean, there's so many other
3
questions.
weeks.
3 weeks to grow. How big? And is it a whole
sorry,
packer?
3 months.
3
3
months.
months. Yes.
How
3 months, which is they compared it to like the life of a cow, right? The gestation period of a cow, plus the plus getting a calf up to about 18 months old to when they're slaughtered. So it's about a 27-month process for that to happen if you count that full gestation period. So from that comparison, it's quite a bit shorter. But yeah, I mean, you're right. The biggest hurdle is going to be overcoming just the fact that you've got two crowds, right? You've got you think you're designing this for the vegan vegetarian crowd. Are they going to be comfortable eating animal protein? And then for the carnivores out there, the folks who love to eat meat and are always looking for new and interesting ways or new and interesting cuts and feeds and whatever, are they going to be open-minded enough to try something grown in a lab? So they are kind of in a tough spot, kind of in between those two crowds, I think.
All right, so let's wade through that murkiness for a second. For the vegetarians, it would seem like it would just be a flat rebuff. It's not plant-based, so it's not following their ideals or what they would normally eat. So since this is, bovine cells and it's going to be real-ass meat, that would seem to preclude them from jumping in on that on principle alone. Where I think the more interesting item is going to be is because we have seen, I guess, a wide acceptance of these plant-based meats. I don't know how successful they are, or perhaps they haven't seen as much success this year as they did last year, given the circumstances we're in, what have you. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with anything. But because we have seen those two companies especially dominate the market in varying ways, ground beef, patties, sausages, and the like, could there be some potential consumer confusion thinking that a real lab cultivated brisket is somehow tied in, or we're not being told the truth, it's really plant-based, but in reality it's not?
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down really to the reasons in which you became a vegetarian or a vegan to begin with. Was it because of animal cruelty issues? And if so, do you think that as long as an animal didn't have to die to create this, it starts from the biopsy. It starts from a biopsy from a cow, which is how they harvest the cells to begin with. So that steer, cow, or whatever doesn't die in the process. So Katie Cam is the one who is the creator of this company, and that was her argument. Was she became a vegetarian to try and get away from the cruelty to animals, in her opinion, and so therefore this solves that problem for her. I mean, it's strange. I know. I mean, I would try it. I would try it.
Oh, well, that was going to be one of my questions. Yeah.
Any kind of brisket, any kind of smoked brisket. I mean, I'm a writer. You give me the opportunity to write about a lab-grown, smoked brisket, I'm going to do it. Sure.
Is it going to be 20 pounds, or is it like a small flat? Or this real-ass size brisket?
I have no idea. I mean, I imagine a lot of them are going to look pretty similar. But yeah, I don't even think they've gotten that far exactly.
When you spoke with them, did you at all do the rosy picture of, hey, the first one's going to be great success, it's going to be widely accepted into the meat consuming public? Like, can they scale this bitch up and then like they're the next Swift or, you know, IBP or whoever, or is that going to take a while?
Yeah, that's going to be their biggest challenge. I mean, the funding in order to get to get even that first brisket is going to be certainly their first hurdle. But then their next big problem is going to be scaling up. You know, what does that look like? What does a warehouse that's growing lab grown meat look like? Like, what are the downfalls? What's the loss ratio? How much does it cost just to get this equipment on a massive scale?
Yeah.
Nobody knows that right now.
40 pound or $40 a pound brisket, I would have to imagine there's going to be a lot of cost in this.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. This is not going to be cheap. Yeah, I mean the American beef industry has done everything they can to make any cut of beef that comes out of an animal as inexpensive as possible. So yeah, I don't think there's any way that in the beginning they're going to be able to compete just based on the scale. I mean, there are 13 million cattle in Texas right now alone. It's 26 million briskets. So that's
Did they give you any kind of a finish line here for the first one at least?
Well, I mean, it's all, like I said, it's all like funding dependent, but they are hoping 2023 is when they're going to be able to take their first bite of that first brisket. So certainly not available on your grocery store shelves at that point.
Daniel Vaughn joining me here on the show, Texas Monthly's barbecue editor. TMBBQ.com is the website, and we're talking about the lab cultivated brisket. So, I mean, you're excited to try it. So, I guess more, well, probably for taste and being able to write about it. So, I guess we'll see how that goes. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about barbecue and television for the remainder here of the segment. There is a barbecue contest show that is coming up this Friday on Netflix.
The Showdown.
Yeah, the American Barbecue Showdown. I'm going to have Kevin Bledsoe on to close out the show in the next hour. But I assume you'd watch the trailer. So as you watch it, you've seen barbecue on television before. Does it smack you with something original or outside of the box, or a lot of the same?
Well, I've read some reviews of the full episodes. I think the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Jim Ochmuty wrote about it, and he said that the idea behind it is that it's sort of the anti-barbecue pitmasters, in the sense that there's there's no Myron Mixon attitude. Like, that's basically show's creators have said it was part of their goal. But in the end, like, it's still this structured, timed barbecue competition show where the whole point is to create drama by throwing people just left hooks here and there and saying, all right, well, here's an alligator you got to throw on the pit along with this, or you got 30 minutes left, you got to serve a side with this. Like, it's still not so much about judging people specifically on their skills as a pitmaster. It's about, like, how well can they play this game, and how well can they pivot and sort of use the drama to their advantage rather than to their disadvantage. So I don't know. I loved watching, like, Aaron Franklin's masterclass, right? And that's like he spent 4 hours cooking a brisket, and that is like the absolute opposite end of this, right? It's this, like, sort of really detailed, finite look at how to cook a brisket versus oh my gosh, we taped, like, barbecue sauce bottles on their hands, and now they've got to, like, trim this brisket. Like, I don't learn a whole lot from that. So I'm open-minded. I'm going to watch it for sure.
Yeah.
I just hope that it's more educational than it is just trying to create drama.
All right, that was going to be my next question. The other item that's barbecue related and on Netflix, which I guess to me seems a little odd that Netflix is kind of making this foray into live fire to whatever degree they are. But the Chef's Table.
It's about time.
Is it?
Jeez. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, come on.
I have no idea.
Barbecue's hot. How long you been doing this show? They're way behind.
12 years. What do you mean? You know exactly how long.
There you go.
Chef's Table is out. I mean, that's been around for a while, but now they have a dedicated portion to some live fire folks. And the first one that I had watched after hearing about it and people sending me links like they were the first one to tell me about it was the one on Snow's Barbecue, obviously specifically focusing on Tootsie Dominance and her rise into the barbecue superstar and Hall of Famer that she is today. And it was, quite the slow roll. So we're obviously not going to have you go back and give us the way beginnings.
Well, 50 years ago.
Yeah, right. So what I guess nobody was telling me as they were sending me these links was what a substantial and primary part Daniel Vaughn actually played in this Chef's Table episode. I mean, here you are in the darkly, sexily lit corner of a bar, and you're giving us the recap of
That's what I'm
Tootsie
trying to recreate right now.
Oh yes, I mean it's pretty good. You're damn sexy. There's no doubt about it. There's no two ways about it.
Well, thanks.
So as you're giving some history and some insights and some anecdotes, are you approached like first saying, "Hey, we're thinking about putting this together, and how can you fit in?" Or we want you to be a part of this. How do you think you can help, or how does that whole thing come together on your end?
Well, it didn't start off with them promising me any involvement whatsoever, and I'll tell you, honestly, when the show came out, like I didn't see any previews other than the trailer that everybody else got to see. I didn't see any rough cuts. I had no idea how much or how little I was in it. I know that I sat down for an interview for about 4 hours or so in Lexington at a bar right down the street from Snow's Barbecue. And, I know I answered a lot of questions, but I knew they were also talking to some other folks. And certainly they were going to be talking to Tootsie and the owner, Carrie Bexley, quite a lot. So I didn't know how much I was going to be in it. So that was a little surprising. And it was fun to sit down with my kids who they know Tootsie really well. They've spent some time with her, had dinner with her. Like she's got suckers for them when they show up at Snow's. So they were sitting down, like excited to watch this show about Tootsie, and then my voice came on, and like, "Oh, you're in this too." But as far as like when it all began, it went back to one of the producers from the show had contacted me just over Instagram and said, "Hey, I know that you know the people at Snow's. We're kind of having a hard time getting them interested at all in filming the show. So do you like Chef's Table? Do you know Chef's Table?" I said, yeah, I'm a big fan of the show. I've seen quite a few episodes. And they just asked if I would talk to Carrie Bexley and maybe inform him that this is a little bit bigger than your average, 5-minute segment on the Food Network or whatever. And so I talked to him about that, and it took a couple of months, and then he agreed to go ahead and be on the show, and then they asked me to come and sit down for that interview.
Obviously, it's gone very well. Everybody that I've talked to that's seen it loves it on many different facets. It's you. It's the history of Tootsie. It's seeing Snow's. It's the promotion of Snow's. Do you think this is going to have a huge uptick for them, or is it a weird dichotomy of being on Netflix, probably in the worst time to be on Netflix if you're in that kind of business?
Yes, because they're closed.
Yes.
I mean, they are still cooking. They're still cooking twice a week to fulfill all their shipping orders, which they certainly saw an abundance of over the past week. They were sold out for a while over the weekend, but they do cook twice a week. Maybe they're cooking more now. Carrie Bexley shared a photo of all the merchandise that they had packaged up in one day that they were shipping out on Monday, and it was just like boxes and boxes full of envelopes. But they are, I believe they're making some changes at Snow's to try and find a way to be open. They are expanding. So yeah, Carrie hasn't really explained it, but he's been showing photos of slabs being poured and large equipment running around Snow's barbecue. So it looks like what they're trying to do is create a situation where instead of just the sort of cramped dining area that they have now, which doesn't really work so well for social distancing, that they are going to do something to try and be able to reopen. And they're only open once a week, but
yeah,
Carrie, Carrie's he's got Tootsie as his right hand woman there. She's 85 years old. Like, can you imagine his position? Like, do I really want to let all these people into this restaurant who all want to come and take a photo with her,
right.
or give her a hug and all that? Like, it's just so dangerous for her right now. So I think they're trying to create a situation where they can be open. But yeah, I know that they're frustrated right now. I know that Miss Tootsie she misses her all of her customers.
Sure.
She misses that all that action on Saturday, all that attention, all those conversations, just being able to see the people who are happy with what she cooks. I mean, the last line in that Netflix show is, and I'm paraphrasing, but it's her saying that she maybe won't see any of these people again, but she's happy that she made them happy. And that's hard to know. That's almost impossible to know when you, put the meat in cryovac and put it in a box and ship it off versus, seeing them eat that and seeing their immediate reactions from it.
So let me ask this question, and I don't mean to take this in a weird, like, dark place or anything, but Tootsie's 85. Newsflash, nobody makes it out of this game alive. How does Snow's change when that happens? Is it something where Snow's might become even more popular because now it's a landmark and some type of place to go pay respect? Or could it go a different way, go completely downhill? How do you foresee that?
Well, I mean, as far as like the amount of business that they would see, I mean, certainly there are people that go there just to see Miss Tootsie. She's become that famous at this point. But the other side of that is, I mean, they've hit legendary status. And once you hit legendary status, like, you are a destination for decades to come. You're in every guidebook, you're in every list. Like, you are going to be in every reference where people are looking to see where to go eat barbecue. So, when Tootsie retires, then, that's, it's still going to be in that legendary status. I mean, Carrie is one heck of a cook. And then, I mean, you saw Clay Cowgill just a little bit in the episode, but I mean, they showed the brisket at Snow's, but they were really careful not to give you the idea or not to say that Tootsie cooks it, because she doesn't. She works all those flat pits, all those direct heat pits, and it's Clay over there who is cooking all those fantastic briskets. I mean, an entire smoker full of them, and he's doing a lot of the pork ribs as well. So. It's not like they're going to lack talent. I mean, they're certainly going to lack a superstar in Miss Tootsie, but the other thing about this time, the fact that she's not working there and not working at the school either, which is her day job, is working maintenance for the school district, is, in many conversations I've had with her, that's what keeps her going. That's what keeps her alive. She thinks that's what helps separate her from a lot of her friends who have passed on, is that they retire and they kind of go to their lazy boy and just kind of wither away. And she hasn't done that. She gets the energy from all this activity and from everything that she does week after week. And not having that is a big challenge for her.
Daniel Vaughn is joining me here on the show. You can find him writing over at Texas Monthly. TMBBQ.com is the website to check him out at. And if you haven't seen Chef's Table, make sure that you hop on Netflix and check that out. Are you in any of the other episodes there for that live fire one, or just the Snows?
Yeah, just Snows. I mean, I love the one on Rodney Scott. Like, he shared a lot about his sort of family strife that he hasn't ever really shared publicly. And, I wrote a book with Sam Jones about Eastern North Carolina whole hog barbecue. And so I know so much about that. So watching Rodney do still the same thing, it's a whole hog over coals, but doing a completely different way, was really interesting and really enlightening. So that was definitely fun to watch.
We'll look for the barbecue game show this coming Friday, and we'll catch up with you again soon. Thanks for coming on, Daniel.
All right, thanks for having me.
You got it. There he is, Daniel Vaughn, right there, and right here on the show. The editor for barbecue editor for Texas Monthly Barbecue. Great insight there, no doubt. If you haven't seen the Chef's Table, it's great. Very compelling. Obviously, a lot of history that if you're not overly familiar with who Tootsie Dominance is, a lot of background. The husband and son passing away very quickly between each other. And as Daniel had mentioned, she is a worker. So this has to be causing her the most stress, not being able to get out and work and do the stuff that she has been for so long. Once again, that was Daniel Vaughn. You can find him at tmbbq.com, and we're back to wrap the first hour right after this.
Hi, this is Briskidor, the barbecue wizard, and you're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Bye-bye!
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And this portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard. Fireboard 2, Fireboard 2 Drive. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring or connect via Bluetooth. If you have Alexa or the Google Assistant in your home, you're in luck because Fireboard is fully integrated with both. You can find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. And some new stuff coming up here before the end of the year, so we'll have Ted Conrad on to talk about that when he is ready. Captain Ron says that the live fire episode from Australia was unreal. Well, I'm through the Tootsie. Now I'm ready for episode 2 tomorrow. Maybe. We'll see what's happening tomorrow. I'm not a big TV guy. Netflix or otherwise. I like music. I'll reveal who I think the best rock and roll drummer is between Neil Peart and John Bonham before this show ends. Why don't you guys weigh in on the instant chat? Neil Peart or John Bonham? We head to the second hour. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to. Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish! What?
He ate Tootsie or Wiener.
Oh, listen, Libertius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. It's the Barbecue Central Show, and we talk about barbecue and grilling stuff right here. Tuesdays, 9 to 11 live, recording at the same time. Hour number 1 goes up in podcast tomorrow. Hour number 2 hits Thursday, and I'll talk to you about Friday here in just a moment. I don't know how many of you are or are not Howard Stern fans, but there's somebody who is not a Howard Stern fan. She hosts a show called Radio Gunk on Twitch, twitch.tv/Radio Gunk. And while I don't necessarily take party into her poo-pooing all over the Howard Stern show because I'm still a mega fan, she did ask me to take part in a other show that she's doing on Fridays, releasing that in the evening, maybe 7 o'clock, where we are summarily poo-pooing on Gordon Ramsay. Last Friday, we poo-pooed on his scrambled eggs, which was an extravagant process for scrambled eggs. I think by the time he was actually done and serving scrambled eggs, I could have made my version of scrambled eggs 28 times and eaten them 28 times before he was done with his single round. So if you're interested in hearing a review of Gordon Ramsay's cooking shows, YouTube segments, whatever he does, he's a weird cat. I don't know what kind of cooking skills that Monique has. She's the real host. I'm just sitting in, trying to give some semi-expert opinion. I don't know what kind of food chops she has. I think none. But she is certainly an expert at hating Gordon Ramsay's guts to the nth degree. It's true. She hates him with a passion. She hates him so much that when he was, in my estimation, aggressively seasoning with salt, and I say that in a very positive way because sometimes you have to aggressively season with salt. She was just beside herself with the amount of salt. I was like, that's actually pretty good. I'm probably salting that aggressively on steak, or we reviewed a burger thing that he did out in Africa, wherever the hell he was. That was a weird episode too. I didn't hate everything that he did, but he's just really easy to pick apart. But I would never do that in Hell's Kitchen. I mean, Hell's to the no. He would eat my lunch in that setting. That's when I fell in love with Gordon Ramsay. It's called Idiot Sandwich because of when he held the 2 pieces of bread up against one of the Hell's Kitchen contestants. And he said, "What are you?" or "What's my name?" He's like, "I'm an idiot sandwich." It was funny. I must have missed that season. That's also a show where I fell in love with Andy Husbands from The Smoke Shop, formerly of Tremont 347. He's been on the show a number of times. I actually talked to him when he was still on that series of Hell's Kitchen, or that season of Hell's Kitchen. That was maybe season number 1 or season number 2. Maybe it was season number 1. Man, the love affairs I have had over the years of this show. Unbelievable. All right, coming up this Friday on the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less, episode 142, taking you back to August 20th of 2013. And a fellow by the name of Greg Fassett was the guest on the show back then, and we did a segment on Memphis wood-fired grills. At that point, I didn't do my due diligence to see if Greg is actually still with the company 7 years later, but at that point, he was the customer service and support technical director at Memphis Grill. So if you've been interested in a Memphis cooker to some degree, this will be a great introduction for you on the cookers, the varying types of cookers, why they differ in the market, or how they differed in the market in 2013. John did a great job of putting this together. And don't forget, you can always use the link that's in the show notes to hear the entire segment, and not only the segment, the entire show, because back in 2013, it was a 2-hour show, believe it or not, still. So there were at least 2 to 3 other segment interviews within that show that if you don't use the full link to go back and listen to, you're going to miss. For instance, in the second hour, Rod Gray from Pellet Envy is in that show. If you mark out to Rod Gray to the highest order, then you want to make sure that after you listen to the best of show Friday morning, that you click on the link to get you all the way back to that entire show. You can scrub in to Rod Gray's interview in the second hour. By the way, John Solberg says that Greg Fassett is still there. So that's good to know. People are staying around. Longevity. We love it. Captain Ron is weighing in on the rock and roll question. Bonham, hit them harder than anybody. Of course, gotta love Dave Grohl, killer drummer and barbecue guy. So the answer, Ron, is Bonham, right, to the question, Neil Peart or Bonham. Stover weighing in, saying that his favorite drummer of all time is Animal from the Muppets. That's good. He was not an option, of course. But everybody weighing in other than the two options that I gave you. Here's a question for the instant chat. Would you rather take cold showers for the rest of your life or never get more than 4 hours of sleep a night ever again? Which one would you rather do? Cold showers for the rest of your life or never get more than 4 hours of sleep again in your life? I know what I want. I can go without the sleep. I am not taking cold showers. No way. I know at one point there was, I still listen to the Jim Rome show, but there was some guy the Jim was hanging around who preached cold showers, that it was carving a toughness groove in your mind, in your person, in your persona, in your psyche. I don't want to be that tough. I don't want to be so tough or try to be so tough that part of that toughness training is taking cold showers for the rest of my life. I don't want to do that. I'd rather suck up and only get 4 hours of sleep. I'd rather take a nice hot shower if I want. Just as a follow-up, last month I led the show letting you guys into the fact that I had put my fat cat on a Prozac regimen. By the way, if you missed that, I also have that clip. While the cat hasn't pissed in the house in a week, we have also implemented a regimen of Prozac for the cat. That's right. Much to the cat's chagrin and dismay. Now, we're going on 2 weeks of not urinating in the house. I am giving him daily doses of Prozac, and he is not happy about getting the Prozac. In fact, this is how unhappy he is. Look at this cat. Look at him, hissing at me every time. That cat is straight up evil, man. That cat is straight up evil. Every time we go at him with the Prozac, there was nothing in there. I was just taking that video to have documented proof in case he actually tried to take a lunge at me. But every time I'm going in with a syringe full of Prozac to calm him the F down and to keep him from peeing in the house, he gives me that attitude. What kind of attitude is that? Look at this cat. He's pissed. If he ever goes for me, that's going to be it. I can tell you that. Pissed. Anyway, there's your cat piss update. We have pheromone diffusers wrought throughout the house. I have him on a stiff regimen of Prozac, and he is 100% pissed about it. He's 100% pissed. But you're going to have to be pissed, cat, because you're not long for my house as you keep pissing in my house. I'll talk to you quickly about Southside Market and Barbecue. Established in 1882, Southside Market, the oldest barbecue joint in Texas. They've been owned and operated by the same family for 3 generations. They offer premium Central Texas barbecue products, slow smoked over real wood. Shipping, distributing, manufacturing sausages for companies across the U.S., from food trucks to multi-chain restaurants. Southside Sausage can be on your menu, too. All meats processed in the on-site USDA-inspected facility, a trusted partner with a focus on quality and authenticity. Wholesale options are available. You can ship nationwide via FedEx. You can use food service distribution like Sysco or U.S. Foods or Martin Foods. Co-packaging capable from research and development to package completion. They can follow your recipes or help you develop something brand spanking new. They also have private label opportunities. visit southsidemarket.com. As you're there, filling up your online cart, and you want to save 10% off your entire order this time and every time you visit, use promo code BBQ Central to checkout. That's BBQ, CENTRAL, BBQ Central, all one word, all lowercase, for 10% off your entire order over at southsidemarket.com. We're back with The Grill Girl, Robin Lindars, right after this. Stick around, be right back.
Monthly visits from a killer hog, a cooking guy, a man named Meathead, the author of Barbecue Bible, a grill girl, a bristly barbecue journalist, and the malfeasance of the barbecue world known as the embedded correspondents. Only found right here on the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, welcome back to this portion of the show being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, currently available in 2 sizes, but that's going to change to 3 at some point with the PBX. Whether you're a beginner or professional, definitely a cooker you want to add to the arsenal. Visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the Barbecue Central Show sent you. My other third Tuesday of the month regular guest, currently clocking in at 23,600 followers on Instagram as of 1 o'clock today. She is the creator of grillgirl.com. We race to the hotline. And welcome back, Robin Lindars. Hey, Robin.
Hey, Greg.
How are you?
I'm good, and thank you for letting me call you for a little tech support / venting last night.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we're going to get into that because I think it is very key, you know, as I was saying in the open of the show, that, you know, a lot of us in Instagram world and, well, social media in general, especially the food folks, have no problem sharing all of the most wonderful successes. We've nailed the internal temp on a steak and it looks great in color. We know the picture is going to be good. So we're really happy to post that. But heaven forbid we shoot over, or like you and I had been experiencing with the Green Mountain Grills on the pizza side of things, not the perfect successes. So I think it's important that folks like ourselves who have gained some type of credibility or modicum of credibility and expertise in the industry share what we're going through, share what we know, so we can help eliminate some of these hurdles for other people as they start to get into it. But before we do, let me ask you this question. Robin, who's the better rock and roll drummer, Neil Peart or John Bonham?
Oh, shit. That is like so hard.
Is it?
Oh, God. Well, I mean, John Bonham is John Bonham.
Yes.
Neil Peart is Neil Peart. So I've always been a Led Zeppelin fan, though, so I'm going to have to go with John Bonham.
Bonzo it is, finally. I mean, Steven Reichlin, of course, wouldn't answer it. And
really?
No, Daniel Vaughn said Dave Grohl. He's not even an option. So at least you answered the question.
Dave Grohl.
I'm
I met
anxious.
him.
You met Dave Grohl?
I met him at Memphis in May. The most popular photo I've ever had on my Instagram of all time, at least until it got taken over and a lot of stuff got deleted, was a selfie that I took with Dave Grohl. Oh no, wait, was it Dave Grohl? Yes, it was Dave Grohl. Yes, at Memphis in May, and he had been at the Shed tent, like doing the whole hog thing. And anyway, didn't mean to get off the subject, but it was like one of those experiences. You're like, holy shit. So anyway, I digress.
All right. So did you hear the segment with Daniel Vaughn in the first hour by chance?
I did not. I missed it. I was trying to get Crazy Man to bed.
No problem.
But I did watch him on Chef's Table, and I was impressed. I thought he did a good job.
Were you surprised that he had that much of a role in it? I was.
You know, it's hard to say. I mean, they were highlighting Texas barbecue, and he's the editor of Texas Monthly's barbecue column, so I think it kind of makes sense.
We were talking specifically. I was going through his website, and there was an article, maybe it was Twitter, and it was an article on 2 ladies out in Austin, Texas, in some bio company. They are cultivating, how did we say it right? It's a lab cultivated brisket. Now, this isn't Beyond Meat. This isn't Impossible Burger. This isn't plant-based stuff. This is a straight-up meat brisket that is being cultivated in a lab. It's not being born. They did a biopsy of some type of bovine, and so they're using that cell, and they're growing it. Or perhaps they're hoping to grow it after they get funding, what have you. But just on the cuff, or off the cuff, what do you think about a lab cultivated brisket potential?
The first thing that comes to my mind is that's kind of creepy. Just feels creepy to me.
Creepier than marching cattle off to slaughter.
Well, I feel bad about that too. It's like, so, it kind of weighs on you on both sides. Like, thinking of brisket, like the way you think of brisket, like being made in a lab, just seems unnatural. But then again, I'm like, if you really think about it, in the grand scheme of things, could it be better for the environment, having that as an option, because people love brisket. So who the heck knows? But the first thing that came to my mind was that's kind of weird and creepy. I don't know why.
Would you line up and be like one of the first ones to try it, or would you want to have somebody else try it first and then let you know, yeah, you should get in line next time?
I think I'd feel about it like the same way I feel about the vaccine for the coronavirus. Like, I want other people to try it first. Like, I want the 2.0 version, not the 1.0 version.
Yeah, right. You never want the first of anything, right? It's always got bugs. Hopefully the brisket doesn't have bugs, but you never know. It could have a head growing out of it.
It could do. Anything that's weird and kind of like genetically modified, I would kind of want to see how that turns out first on someone else, not myself.
I want to see how big this thing is going to be. He said it was going to take 3 months potentially to grow as they were talking about it. Again, I think they're still trying to secure funding and getting some other items, but I guess the science part of it has all been taken care of. So once they get some of these other things knocked down, from whenever they start, 3 months later, they could have their first lab cultivated brisket. So I guess we'll kind of keep tabs on that.
Well, the older I get, the less surprised I get by things, because, it's like truth is stranger than fiction. And, and I am pretty old, because you and Meathead decided that I was 68 last week.
Yeah. So did you hear that, by the way?
I haven't heard it when you told me, and I was like, oh my God, I'm already getting a complex because I just turned 42.
42, right. That's right. Not 68. So here's me just kind of running it off. And I thought I was pretty direct at making it a joke because of the sounder I played underneath, but you be the judge. First and foremost, as we get to some house cleaning, we want to wish a special happy birthday to third Tuesday of the month regular guest, founder of GrillGirl.com, Robin Lindars, who turned 68 today. Congratulations, Robin. Hope you have a great birthday. You hear the guy laughing, right? I mean, I don't know. And then here's Meathead within the segment stopping me to call attention.
You said something in the warm up.
Yeah.
Robin is 68?
Yes, Robin is 68. I'm laughing.
Now I got to tread lightly here. I got to tread real lightly here in the Me Too era.
Yes.
But
yeah, careful.
Robin just does not look 68.
Well, believe it or not, she is as 68 as they come.
45.
No, Robin is 68 years old. Believe it. Take it to the bank. Unbelievable. It's amazing.
Robin is
that Florida sun. That Florida sun will treat you right, I guess, huh?
Eating all that citrus down there,
right? Oranges, limes. What else do they have down there? Although you're more of a fan of like Michigan fruit, aren't you? Now, look, I let that run out at the bottom there when we were talking about fruit because. When he said something, I said fruit or sun, and then he said something about limes. And then I said, you know what? He's totally bought into this. So the month before, he had made some offhand comment about Michigan peaches being better than Georgia peaches because of the cool climate. or whatever. But I knew I had a fish on the line at this point. So I immediately made a left-hand turn back to the Michigan peach stuff. And then it was never brought up again. And it was just like he just went on believing that you were 68. Don't be too, bent that he said 45. I mean, this is a guy now backpedaling from 68 for crying out loud. So his mind is abuzz. But, I mean, can you believe he fell for that? I mean, he's met you in person a number of times.
All I can think is that he was joking, too, and he just never let on. Like,
No. Don't be fooled by Meathead's craziness. I mean, he totally bought it. He stopped the show and backed out. I didn't bring that up.
Yeah. Well,
what a kook.
Maybe we were drinking the last time I saw him in person for him to actually think that's believable.
But
we had been drinking.
I mean, how many kids? How old is Hunter? 6, 7?
He's 5.
5? How many 68-year-olds have 5-year-olds running around? I mean, come on. Only I don't know any, to be honest. Usually 68-year-olds are like rich men who have trophy wives that are as young as you that are pumping kids out because they're trying to hold on to some last bastion of manhood or whatever. But they're mega rich, and it's a guy that's 68. I mean, it's absolutely he's a nut. Anyway, let's move on. Let's first and foremost talk about pellet cooker maintenance. We've hit it from time to time here on the show, but it's something that you wanted to lead with. So go ahead and give me your thoughts on pellet cooker maintenance, and then perhaps some things that you really recommend doing to make sure that it's running at the top of its game.
Yeah, I think it's good for everyone to know that when you get a pellet smoker, I think I often recommend them as very easy to use because they are until they're not.
Right.
So I think a lot of people are like, maybe I'll get a gas grill or maybe I'll get a pellet smoker, which, is in your mind, a lot of the best of both worlds because you've got really push button control, but then you still get the smokiness as if you're cooking over wood. Obviously not as intense as that, but but I don't think people, when they get a pellet smoker, realize that you can't just turn it on and off and not really take care of it like you can easily a gas grill. You know what I mean? I don't really do a ton of maintenance on my gas grills, just because you don't really have to.
No.
And a pellet smoker, you really do have to clean it out pretty often because it can get clogged up and jammed up. You've got a lot of working parts, and especially for me, I feel like because I'm in a very humid environment, which, most of the East Coast is relatively humid and maybe even, Midwest as well.
Sure.
That you're going to have humidity. And that's when, if you haven't cleaned out your pellets, that's when, with the moisture in the air, they can compress and retract in the that part that goes in, the auger where it feeds into the firebox.
Yeah, right.
Yes, thank you. And so I just think most people don't realize that you need to invest in a wet dry vac, so you can vacuum out all the crud, the leave behind. And if you're really hardcore, you should probably vacuum it out every time after you've used it, and technically empty out the pellets every time. Now, I don't always do that, but I should, because then if you leave the pellets out there, out in the moisture, outside, then they can get compromised. So there's little things that people don't realize, but and then it's then it's so easy and awesome to use until it's not. And then you're like, fuck, what's wrong with my pellet smoker? And now I got to go through all these iterations of figuring out why it's not working, where it's clogged, run it through the cycles, take everything apart. So I think, thinking about if you're going to get a pellet smoker, a little maintenance goes a long way. And some of the pellet smokers out there are making it easier to maintain them. So I know Green Mountain Grills now has put in a vacuum, an ash vacuum section where you can just attach the hose to your wet dry vac and just, directly suck out the extra ash and just, wood particles. So that, I would say, if you are vetting a pellet smoker, that's something to think about. Do they make it easy to clean out? And that's my experience has always been with the Green Mountain Grill, because that's what I've been doing recipe development and cooking on for a long time. You introduced them to me to them, Greg. So I thank you, because they're awesome. Love working with them. But so I think that, anyone, whatever kind of pellet smoker you're going to get, just think about, you need to take care of it and clean it up every so often. And don't let your pellets get gross and wet and sit outside and collect moisture, and shut it down the proper way. And Lord knows we've all had our moments when we haven't done that. I'm sure I'm to blame. But these are things to think about, especially if you're vetting the kind of grill you want to invest in. If you can't do that, then maybe you need something a little easier, or even charcoal. That's really, charcoal's like, it's cooking on like a kettle. It's very straightforward. It's hard to screw it up.
Well, I think, like you said, that there is a potential misconception of thinking that the pellet cooker is as easy as a gas grill or as easy as a charcoal smoker, and it's just not the case, because you have basically a computer running this, and then you have other things. The pellets are affected by the weather. Certainly, charcoal can be affected by the weather too, but it's not nearly, if the charcoal gets wet, it's not nearly as catastrophic as if the pellets get wet. Those swell up, they pop. It's a big nightmare. They're going to jam everything. So do the maintenance first. The other thing that I wanted to hit on, and we were both, I think we both love grilled pizza, and we've both been using the Green Mountain Grill Pizza Oven insert. And here's what I noticed, and then I'll let you share your story. I have had a choice line, Daniel Boone, for years and years and years, and it looked like, and then I was sent a Prime grill. I put that together a month ago. So this is a different cooker, but the first time I set it up, also I noticed that the pizza oven looked a little different. So maybe they're on version 2 or version 3 of the one that I had been using, which looked different. I set the new grill to the old grill's temperature, and I didn't ask anybody about anything else. And I made 5 pizzas, and I burned all 5 pizzas. And I couldn't get my head around why that might be. And so I talked to the pizza expert of the industry, Matt Frampton, who's also a big Green Mountain Grill guy, and he said, well, which line do you have? And I said, Prime. And he said, what are you cooking at? And I said, well, 350, just like the old one. And he said, no. For the Prime line, you want to dial that grill in around 250 to 275, which should get you closer to 650 or 700 on the stone is what you're really looking for. And he said, what was the temperature of the stone? I said, I don't know. Evidently, it was really freaking hot. And he said, well, don't you have an infrared gun thermometer to shoot your stone? I said, no. And he said, you have to get one. You got to know your temperatures. So I ordered one from ThermalWorks, and I paid for it. And, when I redid them again this past weekend, that portion was all fixed now. I had the temperature dialed in right on the cooker. The stone was where it needed to be, and the only thing I need to learn how to do next time, as I'm working with real dough, which is way stickier than the stuff I was getting from the Italian market that was already made, still like fresh dough, but it had been, in the refrigerator for God knows how long. So I'm using the Urban Slicer dough. You have to be flouring the shit out of these dough balls to keep them from sticking. And Matt said to his credit on a video that I watched after the fact, of course, that if you think you're over flouring, you're not. You can always put more flour on, and I was scared of doing that because I didn't know how it was going to affect everything. So that has been my pizza learning lesson. So next time I should be able to knock it out of the park. What were you? So that affected my launch because it would stick and it would fold over. It was a nightmare. So what were your pizza nightmares that we can learn on?
Well, I've been troubleshooting this pizza attachment for about 3 weeks and kind of losing my mind. But I think what happened was initially, before I even put the attachment on, I had a clog in my pellet smoker. So by the time I got that fixed and kind of shut that out, I think I had almost cleaned my grill so much that it was so empty that maybe I needed to prime some charcoal or some pellets in. Because every time I was putting the attachment on, like, so I would start the grill regularly with the firebox on, or even without the firebox, and it would go fine, and I could get it up to temp. And then as soon as I put the pizza oven attachment on, it couldn't get to temp, and I don't know why. It would just like stall out, and so I was just like, "What the heck," And then I replaced the igniter after talking to Jason, and I thought that would fix it, and it didn't. So I was like, totally stumped. And then just, couldn't figure out why it's not working. And then yesterday we got the grill going without the pizza oven attachment on, just on its own with nothing on it. And we got it going, and we got it to like 400 degrees. And then we put the attachment on. And so the fire was already on and going, and then it was fine. So I think it was that I didn't have enough charcoal like primed in it. I think it was almost too empty, even though it should be able to push it through and start it. But maybe something with I think maybe that attachment thing that goes in maybe wasn't, I don't know, but that's what we had to do. So I think it was the amount of pellets I had in that it almost, something was happening with that. And it wasn't until I'd already got it really hot and then added it, which of course is not how you would normally want to use it.
Oh, right.
It started, because that's kind of dangerous. But I got it done, and or I got it up to temp, and I made a pizza on it, and it turned out great, and I didn't burn it, and I was so stoked about the whole thing. So I'm hoping that I can, recreate that experience, because it is such a fun experience when you do get the pizza right. I mean, even though, and I've done a lot of pizza over the years, which is so funny because I'm lactose intolerant, and I also don't really eat a ton of gluten just because it just seems to bother my stomach. But I did recipe development for Land O'Lakes back in the day. So we did a shitload of pizza, and I did cooking classes on pizza on a kettle, like as when they were like I was like their whatever you call it, their outdoor grilling ambassador.
Sure.
Spokesperson for one summer. We were trying to make their deli cheese kind of sexy, if you will. And then I did pizza on the Today Show, which I didn't really want to do, but their culinary director there had like a hard on to do something with store-bought refrigerator dough. So I did that on their grill I had never used before out on Rockefeller Center, and like just about it was so stressful, but I did it. So it's like I always have these pizza, like, I don't know, trials and tribulations. It's like maybe in my past life I was a pizza maker or something happened. I don't know. But here we go again.
No doubt. So hopefully the next time we're all on the same, you achieve the results that you're looking for. But we're just trying to give you our trials and tribulations, as Robin said here, so you can troubleshoot quicker if something similar happens to you, or if you haven't done it yet, you can work around our issues, and you're off to a much better version of whatever pizza you're cooking. So in the meantime, go over to grillgirl.com and see the recipes and other things that she's writing about. And if you're not following her on Instagram, follow her on Grill Girl Robin. You can see her on the third Tuesday of the month right here on this show. Robin, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me. And you guys, I just did smoked sriracha. It's on the site. I'm really excited about it. So go check it out.
We'll talk about that next month. All right. All right. There she is.
Bye, girl.
Robin Lindars from Grill Girl right there. Pizza nightmares we have. Maybe I should see if Kevin Bloodsoe has pizza nightmares. I'll talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grills because we just talked about them. Some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today, of course. Prime line, which I have now. I've had choice lines as well. The Jim Bowie and the Daniel Boone both fit that pizza oven insert that we were talking about, so make sure that you check that out. Just add it into the cart when you're at the dealer buying your grill. If you want something for a tailgate, because some people are doing that right now, the Davy Crockett is the one that you want. That also introduced everybody to the 12-volt technology. So, take a look at what they have on the website, greenmountaingrills.com. Find a dealer near you. Go see them. Learn all about it, then buy one. They'll make sure that you know how to run it, and you're ready to have success on the first cook and from thereafter. greenmountaingrills.com. That's greenmountaingrills.com. We are back with Kevin Bloodsoe on the show. Stick around. I'll be right back.
celebrating over 10 years of prolific and unparalleled live fire barbecue and grilling talk. And yes, it's still being done from Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
This portion of the show being brought to you by Smithfield throughout the grilling season. Follow them for recipes, tips, tricks, and world champ pitmasters like Chris Lilly, Darren Worth, Ernest Cervantes, and Childs Cridlin. With mouthwatering flavor, no artificial ingredients. Smithfield Fresh Pork, quite simply, is some of the best pork money can buy, trusted by world champions for use at their home and at their competitions. That is Smithfield.com. Helping me close the show tonight, a California barbecue legend, but the roots are from Texas. Have you seen him on TV? Yes. You will see him once again on TV this coming Friday, as he is one of the two judges on the American Barbecue Showdown, set to air on Netflix, a new location for barbecue on TV as of late. So we run to the hotline and welcome the founder of Bloodsoe's Bar and Q and first-timer here to this show, Kevin Bloodsoe, joining me here. Hey, Kevin, how are you?
I'm good. What up with you, G-Money? How you doing, baby?
Hey, Kev, I am living only the right way, as you know what I'm talking about, and really appreciate you making time for the show and getting to chat with you here. So, look, before we get involved in the TV show, this is the lead question I've been asking all night, so I have to end it with you here. Best, in your opinion, best rock and roll drummer between the two, John Bonzo Bonham or Neil Peart?
Neil Peart all day long.
Whoa, look at this guy coming in. You know, look, I mean, I am hard pressed. I want to always say John Bonham because he is known as probably the heaviest handed drummer out there and iconic drum beats. But man, from a technicality standpoint and some of the finest solos ever around, Neil Peart is hard to beat, whether you like Rush music or not. Or a fan of Led Zeppelin or not. I mean, these two are certainly some of the finest. Is there any other drummer you'd like to throw into the mix? I mean, some of the other guys.
To be truthful with you, I never heard of either one of them, but I'm going to keep it 100. My boy, Danny Thomas, Bishop College, 1987, the baddest drummer in the world on the Big Boom Band back in the Disney.
How about this guy? Yes. Love it. Kevin Bloodsoe joining me here on the show. The website, by the way, Bar and Q, Q-U-E, barandq.com. Kev, you know, we could probably take the whole segment talking about your background of barbecue and the mergings of basically a Compton, California, born and raised guy, but also somebody who spent their summers in Corsicana, Texas, where you were hanging out with your grandmother, and she was teaching you the live fire ways and kind of instilling that passion for you. Maybe you didn't know that you were building that passion back then. And we can probably loop back around to all of that, in a week or a month from now or something like that. But, let's talk a little bit about the food business. Obviously, coronavirus hitting everybody in different ways this year. Food and beverage industry has been impacted incredibly. How has it affected you and the business since March? And I know it's easy and quick to point out the negatives, but maybe if we could, let's start with some of the positives that might have bubbled up in the last 6 months.
I mean, I'm gonna keep it 100. The positives is like I said, our Hollywood location has been just totally blessed, man, to be able to keep employees employed because we've been shown a lot of love, man. You know, the community has came forward to support us, and the fire department, LAPD, all of them, man, we gonna keep y'all going. But not just that, Kingsford Charcoal and those type of places making donations, and we just been blessed, man. And Postmates and Gold Belly, Greg, just been keeping it going, man. Like I say, of course we miss the bar, we miss people sitting down, but we still been pretty steady, man. Our numbers haven't been that far off. And we've, donated to so many other restaurants to try to keep them going, because that's what it is, man. The restaurant business is a family, man, no matter what you're doing. And everybody might not be as blessed as you are. So you got to, once you bless, you got to try to keep somebody else blessed, man, to keep it coming, you know. And that's what we've been trying to do, man. We've been trying to pay it forward, you know.
Kevin Bledsoe joining me here on the show. Do you think that it is somewhat easier for a barbecue or grilling business that might have an in-house or a traditional platform originally to be able to pivot out of that given the scenario and go to something that's a little bit more walk-through or drive up and take out versus some of the other more standard traditional dine-in restaurants?
No, I think it's harder because, like I said, it's barbecue. You know, like we talk all the time about barbecue. Barbecue still has to be held to the standards of every other food when the health department comes through. You know, still got to be in warmers and all that. But you done already smoked the hell out that meat, so you know you got to try to hold that meat and all that. You know how it go, Greg. You know what I mean? You got to try to whatever. But you moving it. You know, we moving it. So it is, but it's not. You know, if that makes sense. It's not like, you know, somebody making burgers or something. Somebody called you make burgers, you know. Somebody making tacos, they call you make tacos. Somebody doing this. But we doing barbecue. We done already smoked the hell out that brisket. We done smoked the hell out them ribs. And now we need to move it. And if it sits more than an hour or two, you know, it's losing its integrity, you know. So it's a little tougher on the barbecue business.
Kevin, I spoke with Daniel Vaughn last hour from Texas Monthly, and we were talking about two ladies in Austin, Texas, who are in the process of trying to get funds and some other things knocked down to eventually cultivate a lab-based brisket. Not plant-based. This is going to be real as meat, but it's going to be grown in the lab. Are you down with that?
I'm not down with no bullshit like that, man.
No?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, man. Nah, man. Why? Like, I mean, that's what I'm saying. You know, barbecue is a tradition, man. Barbecue is a heritage, you know. Why mess with it, you know? I mean, what? This ain't this ain't top ramen. You know, it's an art to this, man. Low and slow, baby, like a 6-4, you know? I don't see how you can do it, whatever. That's fine. Do your thing. If it works for you, it works for you. But nah, I'm going to do mine till the casket drop, partner.
So if somebody came to you and said, Kev, you know, I could bring in a new portion of clientele for you, but you would have to enter in with some type of a Beyond Meat or an Impossible Burger. I mean, are you open to that conversation, or
nah,
you just want to keep it all meat and that's it?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep, because I mean, I'm gonna ask you this: when you go to a vegan restaurant, do they serve meat?
Kevin, you know damn well I do not go to a vegan restaurant.
Okay, then, but I'm saying, so why do some restaurants bow down to that? Like, if you don't want meat, then I don't expect you to come to my restaurant. You know, just like if I go to a party or a wedding or a vegetarian or something like that, then I expect that it's not going to be meat there, and that's cool. I just feel like it should go both ways. Like, man, you know, I mean, you got a lot of restaurants. I mean, I got good pit masters. They cook barbecue. They cook, you know, they cook good sides. I don't have a good person that can just be the bomb on cooking a vegan dishes. You know, and I feel like you got restaurants that people should go to for that. That's the bomb in that, you know.
You have options. You want to go to Bledsoe's, you're going to be eating meat. That's the bottom line. That's what Kevin's talking about here.
All day.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know.
Let's talk about this show coming up Friday, the 18th of September. First and foremost, I did not see Netflix jumping into the barbecue game, and I'm surprised, happy at the same time. How did this opportunity come to you, Kevin?
My boy Dan and one of the producers and my boy Dominique. I ain't gonna go into details, but I did another show just on the strength to help them out. You know, to say that they had me, and I can't go in detail, G, and you know the game, but
Yep.
And then they wanted me to do this show, and I'm just gonna say this, and I'm not saying take me away from this show. This is gonna be one of the most incredible barbecue shows you ever seen in your life.
Really?
And real talk, and the reason why I say it, because it's just because, you know, a lot of the competitions be cutthroat and people conniving and people scheming and all this. Like, with everything that's going on right now in this world, and this was filmed last year, G, you feel me?
Yeah.
But it's so perfect for right now when you see people working together, different colors, different cultures, working together, competing against each other, but working together in some of the oddest circumstances you ever gonna see in your life, man. It is an incredible show, and plus we cooking possums and raccoons and all. Some of the stuff we cooking has never been done before on TV. You know,
from a judge,
and there's no comfort zone. You know, most competitions, they got their smokers that they used to or whatever.
Right.
Every competition, every assignment that me and Melissa assigned to them is a different type smoker, different everything.
So the pitmaster has to be on their game. They have to be able to control live fire or whatever else you're throwing in front of them.
Yes.
I know.
I'm gonna tell you this.
Yes.
Like I done told all these other people I've been talking to. You got my number. When you watch that show on Friday, you text me and tell me if I was lying, G.
All right. I got that number.
All right. Keep it 100.
So you've been on other shows before as competitor Kevin Bledsoe. What's it like to turn around and be the judge?
I know I've been on shows with Judge too. I don't like I said, I don't really do that much competition. You know, I've been judges, but to be a judge and to not really be into the competition thing, because like I said, that's a whole nother show we can talk about.
Yep.
But to be a judge and I know the game and to see, I'm just gonna be real, and to be a judge and to watch these people out here cooking in 100-degree weather, man, and because some people take their art or take whatever too much, some people like in the competition thing, they just overbearing to me. It's not that serious. It's still barbecue. Make some good food. Let's have a good time. Whatever. I'm not here to make these people feel bad. I'm not like that. I'm not. And I love the clown and I love the joke and all that. Whatever. But I mean, my get down is just different from a lot of other people. I'm still going to try to work with you. You know what I mean? I still got compassion for people in this business, in competition cooking, when they do it on these shows, man. And it all comes through on this show, man. It's, because these normal people, trying to get the dream. Just because you already made the dream, don't try to dog nobody else's dream out,
Kevin Bledsoe joining me here on the show, barandq.com's website. So aside from you being a judge, the winningest woman in barbecue history, Melissa Cookston, is also a judge. What's it like working with her?
Oh, man, she's a legend, man. She's a legend. She's a constant professional, and Melissa keeps it popping, I mean, that's her. She's a G,
Were you surprised, just personally, that Netflix is getting into this side of things, or at least dipping their toes in between this show and then obviously doing a portion of the Chef's Table on Live Fire?
Not really, because like I said, it's still, I mean, especially now, what brings people together? Barbecue. Barbecue is a party. Barbecue is a communication. Let's sit down. Let's have some barbecue. That's what brought people together back in the days before kitchens and stoves and all that outdoors. Let's sit down. It is, man. But Netflix did a good job. That round table is amazing, and this show is amazing. And it's giving you a totally different look at barbecue, though, for real. It's like giving you the showing, like, and I'm not knocking no other show, but this is showing the whole work of how hard it is and the pressure of this, to cook a brisket all night. Got these, because, all the other shows is quick and, make your, this is a barbecue show, but make your special dish and, make your signature dish in 30 minutes, but you're a barbecue guy. Come on, that ain't happening. This show, we was with them dudes all night sometime, all night smokes and all that,
I've had some discussions.
I mean, damn, we cook beaver, Greg.
That's my favorite. Well, I better not say that out loud. People could misconstrue what I'm about to say. Never mind. I've had some discussions on this show recently with some respected folks in the industry, and one of the hopes that this show pans out is that there is a decent amount of teaching methods, or let's say learning moments, versus that traditional smack talking and posturing that's become commonplace on those other TV shows. Will folks be happy about that?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, man, because, I mean, And let me tell you, I came up playing the duds. I got more jokes than anybody, you know. But when you see the passion of these competitors, man, and the love and the emotion, you know what I mean? You just want to help them. And then, like I said, if you made it to a certain point, that's your job is to help folks. You know, it can't be no jealousy or whatever. I mean, these are some. Everybody, I mean, Netflix did such an incredible job of picking these contestants, though. These pit masters, they all got a story, and they all are like the emotions of it, man. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you on your show, text me on Friday after you watch it.
All right, we're looking forward to the show coming up. Has there been any other talk that you've heard of for there being like another show or another season of this yet, or is it wait and see at this point?
It's wait and see right now. We're going to see, you know, with the pandemic and everything like that. But I would love to do it, man, because I had a ball. And we out there in Covington, Georgia, where they filmed Heat of the Night at. And all this time, I thought Sparta is where they filmed it, but they filmed it in Covington, Georgia, and that's where we were for almost a whole month filming this show. 100 and something degrees out there.
Kevin, would you rather have no eyebrows or an extra finger?
No eyebrows.
No eyebrows. That's right. No extra fingers
I barely
for this
got
guy.
them now. I mean, unless somebody gonna give me an extra middle finger.
Yeah, that's right. Then we can accentuate the hate to the haters. Have you caught the chef's table
That's right,
on the Snows and on Rodney Scott and all that? Have you seen that yet?
Have the round table?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did. I love it. I mean that's some you know. I mean the conversation that's some OGs right there. You know. I mean, believe it or not, Rodney Scott got the first African American, other than Bobby Seale, Black Panthers barbecue cookbook, but Rodney Scott got the first African American barbecue cookbook coming out. Mine will be second.
Are we making a breaking announcement here?
Oh yeah, my book will be out. We're working on it right now. The Bloodsoe Family Cookbook will be out spring 2022.
All right.
10 Speed Publishing is publishing, and Noah Galutin is writing. Demetrius Smith and all them are. This is going to be an incredible book.
All right, so we're going to have you back on to promo that, but we'll also have you back on so we can do the deep dive back into Kevin Bloodsoe, and I know I want to get some stories out of you of what it's like kind of transplanting back and forth between West Coast and Texas and growing up and all that stuff. So look for Kevin as one of the judges.
Incredible.
Coming up this Friday, and while you guys don't have his number, I do, and I will be texting him whether it's real or not, and you know I'm going to do that. So, Kevin, really appreciate you coming on the show, promoting, and we'll be looking for you again soon.
Hey, G, real talk. I know when you hit me on Friday, you're going to keep it 100, so keep it 100 with me, all right?
It's the only way I live, buddy.
All right, man.
All right, there he is, Kevin Bloodsoe from Bloodsoe's Barbecue, and again, the website is barandq.com. All right. Wait. I can't yet. Gotta do this first. Telling you about Big Papa Smokers, also West Coast, right? Damn right. Big Papa Smokers, the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue, a curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking and grilling supplies. We'll get you on the path to better barbecue results in no time. They have great rubs, perfectly balanced, 13 to choose from. Sweet Money, Cattle Prod, Cash Cow, Double Secret Steak, Little Louie's Seasoned Salt. The list goes on, and I love them all. They have Granny's barbecue sauce as well. Rumor had it they might be making a spicier version of the traditional Granny's, and we are not.
Andrew, you are not.
We are not talking about the names that I was heard pitching around for that. Aside from the rubs and sauces, they got the cookers, a versatile, easy-to-use smoker called the Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill. They're the only dealer online for Mac 2, so they're offering special packages. They have the Old Hickory Ace BP. It's the only charcoal smoker that Big Papa trusts on his competition trailer. If you have any questions, You call 877-828-0727. That's 877-828-0727. Or shop the website at bigpopasmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA smokers.com. And now we will wrap the show. We'll just go right into it. All the way back in the first hour, we talked with Steven Reichlin, recapping the shoot of Project Fire Season 3. Fire! Then we talked with Daniel Vaughn, barbecue editor over Texas Monthly, tmbbq.com, his website, and we talked about the potential of lab cultivated brisket. Second hour, Robin Lindars. We both agreed that she is indeed not 68 years old, and Meathead fell for the greatest hoodwink in show history to date. And we close it out with first timer to the show, Big Kev, Kevin Bledsoe over at Bledsoe's Barbecue. barandq.com is Kevin's website, and you can look for him as being one of the two judges on Netflix show American Barbecue Showdown. Again, that is set to air this coming Friday, the 18th, on Netflix. We're going to have him back on. What a personality on that guy. And don't worry, Kev. I'm about to hit you up on Friday and tell you what's up.
This is Rennie Knopf with ChampionshipBBQ.tv, and you're listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
And this is what it sounds like when I end the show cold. I'm not even going to go back and do the music. Just know that next weekend is next week is the fourth Tuesday of the month, so we have embedded correspondence. We have Derek Riches, and we might also have somebody by the name of Rebecca King. So you're going to want to tune in for that. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe, saying good night now.